Where do I begin? Where do I begin in the last 3 weeks, guys? I can't even really fathom that it's only been 3 weeks because I've had more happen to me in my month of my birthday than I've ever had in my entire life. It feels like, not completely, but it's definitely more has happened in June than probably most of last year. As you guys know, some of you might know who've been, on top of things on my Twitter or have, been on my Discord or just been in my streams in general. You knew that I was moving to a new place. So I'm in the new place, as you can tell. I got my own little room set up. It's a little different, a little weird. It's not quite as spacious. I haven't set up anything to keep the echoes to a minimum yet, but I am preparing to fix that at some point. I've gotten pretty comfortable in here, but okay, so about right before my birthday, so halfway through the month, 2 weeks into the month, that's when I moved. And as you probably have guessed from the video, there has been a somewhat of a passing. As some of you might have noticed, some of you who are sharper towards my updates, you probably heard about my friend who passed away. About a week after I moved in here, one of my childhood friends. We weren't as close as some of my other friends in the world, but we still had a long history. And just seeing him go overall was really tough. Because it feels like he went down the wrong path. He definitely went down the wrong path in life, and it really did screw him over in the long run. He made friends with friends he shouldn't have been making friends with. They totally just abandoned him in his time of need to cover their own ass. Of course, my cell phone decides to go off now. To cover their own ass, they decided to abandon him after giving him very bad drugs that were laced with stuff that doesn't do good for your heart, which goes to show you shouldn't be doing drugs, at least the ones not prescribed to you, and even then you should be doing some research on on whatever pills your doctor has decided to give you. But that's besides the point. I had just started getting over my grieving when my boyfriend, Shayne, who some of you have known to be the co-host of my streams, suddenly was in the hospital. He was sick at the beginning of June, and he went into the clinics to have himself looked into. They did some, I guess, tests because you'll see why in a minute, and they told him that he had strep throat. Well, about halfway through the week, just after I moved into this place, he started getting really sick, more and more sick. He started vomiting, and he had abdominal pains, and he was getting sleepy and tired and dizzy at times. So he went to a clinic again, and they just gave him more antibiotics. And then right near the end of the month, it was about June 29th-ish, on a Tuesday, I think that's when it was. Let me just really quickly check here. Yeah, it was Tuesday of the 30th of June. I was told by his mother that he was in the hospital and that they weren't sure what was wrong with him. And he was out cold, and they said his blood sugar was all over the place and he needed to go into the hospital because he was in pain. Well, when day one on Tuesday, basically, I was told that he was suffering from pancreatitis and that his blood sugar was all over the place and he was going to suffer with type 2 diabetes. So I had to get myself mentally to wrap myself around that. Like, I had to prepare myself to battle a lifelong disease. I mentally started preparing myself, and it hurt. It sucked. And I mentally prepared myself to have to deal with that with him and be strong for him. And then the next day, I was told that it wasn't looking good, that they were trying to put him on medication, which was July 1st, and that the medication wasn't working. He was on 5 different pills, and normally you put a person on 3 pills and they start leveling out. He wouldn't level out. And there was a chance of him having problems with his mentality, like his brain was starting not getting the proper oxygen because his blood was all fucked up. It was like syrup. And then Wednesday went by, and then Thursday came in, and I was told by his mother again that he had low brain activity and the medications weren't working, and that something was probably poisoning his blood. And I was devastated because they said that there was possible brain damage, that he could come out of this with barely any knowledge of himself or who he was or what he was. He could have come out worse than he ever did, and I just had to deal with that. And that day, I had to help his mom because he was the only thing she had. So I was trying to talk to her the entire time because I knew she was a kind and caring woman, and that I tried to console her while also trying to deal with my depression, my sadness through that entire ordeal. And then last Friday, I was told on July 3rd that he was brain dead, and there was nothing left of him, and they were going to pull the plug that day. He died at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there was nothing we could do. There was no saving grace. There was no prayer strong enough to save him from whatever it was that was poisoning his blood. All I know is that he's gone now, and nothing can bring him back. We were together for about 4 or 5 years, and there was a point in time where my relationship with him was kind of rocky to begin with because I had just gotten out of 2 bad relationships before I met him. So I was pretty messed up for the first couple years that I was with him. But he was so patient with me, and he didn't care that sometimes I couldn't reciprocate the way that he did at the time. And he just stuck with me for so long, and he dealt with my issues, and he picked me up and helped me with my videos and helped me mentally, and I didn't really like there was a very strong moment in time last year where our relationship kind of hit real rocky roads. And I came out of that understanding and completely appreciating him for who he was after that. Like, my eyes opened up right after the convention visit that I had done. And I figured out just who he was, what kind, I figured myself out, and I figured him out, and I understood that I needed him in my life. He was a special person. He was an angel in disguise, basically, and that I needed him. And I'm happy that, I got to have a year of finally completely and utterly appreciating the relationship between us two. But it was only for so short a time. And I just wish that I could have had more than just 4 to 5 years with him. I'm telling you guys, I know a lot of you are all going through hard times. 2020 has been a fucking nightmare for everybody. And I've heard from friends that I know and I've been contacting lately that people are losing people. Their friends are losing loved ones everywhere. And a lot of people are going through such drastic and terrible times. And I know that I know it, and I'm with you on this. And it's not over. 2020 is not over, and this is probably going to be one of the darkest years we've ever had in many of our histories. And it's only going to probably keep getting worse. But what I know is that we have to stick together. That we people, excuse me, sorry, I slapped my stupid keyboard. I'm probably not even going to barely edit this. I don't really care. We as a people have to stick together, and nowadays we have to, because at this point, if we don't, everything we've built is just going to fall down like a haphazard tower. So we need each other. We need to keep each other safe. And even if people disagree with things, if we disagree with things, if others disagree with things, don't let it be what is the deciding factor between friendship and love just because you disagree with something. Because I guarantee if you value that person as a friend, you will come to regret your decisions of pushing them to one side, and they're not there the next time you look. It will be a deep scarring pain that you will never be able to get over, and you will have to probably live with for the rest of your life. So if there's something worth saving with that person, and you can try to talk to them, but it's hard, because I know some people, they're just so stubborn, and it's understandable that if the person you just can't reach, sometimes there's nothing you can do. So you just got to stick with the people that you can reach, that you can talk to, and keep them close while also trying to help the people that and try to talk to the people who you can't. Just try, because even if you can't reach them, even if you can't talk to them in a civil way or try to be a good person about it, the best you can do is to try. And then you can later on say, hey, it doesn't feel like there wasn't any effort put into this. Because I can tell you that if I hadn't done that with Shayne, if I didn't put the effort forth and actually connect to him, that I would be even in worse shape now than I am. I'd be in worse shape than I am now. Is the word I'm trying to say. Motorcycle kind of messed with my head. You probably heard that. I'm kind of in the city now. So, yeah, that was my rant on that. So we never figured out what happened to him. The best we can do and the best we can figure out was there was something poisoning his blood and poisoning him with and his pancreatitis, making him sick for the last month. And whatever it was that was making him sick, they couldn't get it out of his system in time. And the reason that is because the clinics that saw him on 3 separate visits never did a single blood test. Never trust a doctor's office to know what's best in your favor, what's best for you half the time, because our healthcare is broken. The American healthcare system is completely and utterly broken. Most of the time on this channel, I do not get political because I want to keep this channel free of that sort of thing, because I want people to just be happy. But I am not being silent about this. Our healthcare system needs to be fixed. If one simple blood test is all that it took for my boyfriend to still be alive, which was confirmed by the doctor that worked on him in the hospital, at what cost would that be? What is that? It's like a couple $100 to do a blood test. For a couple $100, he could still be alive? All because he was too poor to afford it, you decided to disregard this test? It's insane. Insanity. And people tell me that when people say that the healthcare system in our country is not broken, I just want to laugh in their face. And now I used to at least, now I just want to cry. Now I just want to cry because I lost somebody so close to me, somebody who was so special to me, and I'm never getting him back. And the best I can do for him right now is to move forward and keep making these videos. But it's been too hard right now, these past couple weeks, about the past week. It's been too hard. With my friend dying, then him dying, and I was still trying to get settled into this new place and I'm all by myself most of the time here. So I've just been trying to reconnect to friends and try to reach out to anybody and everybody who would lend me an ear, who would give me a shoulder to cry on, because I need that right now. So I haven't been able to make anything for you guys. His funeral was Tuesday, and I wrote a eulogy for him. And I tried to put the best bits of his life into this. Tried to remember him for who he was, not try to roll around in the muck of pain and sorrow, but instead celebrate his life. And I would like to read that poem to you guys today, if you would lend me your ear. To Shayne, the love of my life, the bright, cheerful song that resonated within my mind and my heart. Every day we would talk to one another, share our feelings, our pasts, our goals, confine within each other our secrets and our darkness. You were a person who had a troubled youth, one paved in pain and depression, but yet you never truly let those things weigh down on your soul. You fought them, worked through them, you tackled them. Lesser people would have fallen to these demons, becoming bitter and resentful. You, though, you kept going. You wanted to put a smile on the face of others around you, even if they didn't deserve you. Your grin was infectious, your heart spacious, your mind a rapier, and your arms a pair of soft, angelic wings. To Shayne, you who now sings quietly with the wind as you watch over me, I was so glad to have met you. You helped me through my hardest moments, picking up the pieces of my soul and slowly, carefully, put them back together. You laughed at my silly humor. You unclenched my fist when I was angry. You cradled me when I was hurt. I learned to battle against my insecurities with you, parting fear and despair, much like the stories of Moses that you loved so much. Learning how to appreciate things in life that I saw as rocks, but you saw as diamonds. Teaching me about how beautiful you shined, just like the stones you shared with me. To my Shayne, I love you, and I always will. Thank you. The reason why I forgot to mention this, but the reason why we will never figure out what really killed him is because he was of Jewish heritage, and the family didn't want to do an autopsy because of Jewish tradition. They wanted to keep the body whole and keep it so that he would be buried respectfully. So that's that. I just wanted to also note that one of his favorite Pokemon was Absol. And this year I bought him a plushie of one because he loved it so much, and he loved Absol so much that he actually had a fursona of it. And yes, he was a furry, and I really don't care what you got to think about that. So I bought another one because the one that I gave him is now gone and is buried with him in a Jewish cemetery. And this fall, they're going to plant a tree over his grave so that he can breathe new life into the air for everybody. So I want to thank you guys for everything. For supporting me, for supporting this channel, for supporting my friends, and supporting for supporting my relationships and in my, like, being not straight. Again, please take care of yourselves, guys. Remember to use logic, intelligence, try to do the right thing, and don't give up on people quite so easily, because you don't know when they'll just vanish from your life. Thanks. Take care, everyone.